commander on Conqueror is located at the very rear of the turret, and mere words aren't going to explain to you just how much feeling of power you get from seeing several meters of turret and then a huge cannon directly in front of you. The cupola was sufficiently advanced that it was no longer considered a cupola. This was now the fire control turret, for reasons you'll see in a moment. But as you look around it, the obvious thing, of course, is he has his own 30 cal externally mounted. He has the sight for the 30 cal. There are 2 additional periscopes removed from this vehicle for additional observation. The FCT does do 360-degree traverse. Directly to the front is the main gun sight. And on each end, you have the vision pieces for the rangefinder. Now, the rangefinder is what really distinguishes it from a cupola into a fire control turret. Directly in front of the commander in the FCT is the number 8 sight. It has 2 eyepieces. The one on the left shows the range currently put into the fire control system. The one on the right is the primary sight with engaging with the gun, and that is a x6. Directly above him is the number 6. This is the machine gun sight, the control for which is right here, the machine gun, of course, being mounted up and to the left. The centerpiece of the FCT is the rangefinder. Eyepiece is located here. It's got a 47-inch sight base. The idea is that you've got 2 images. The view is split, top half and bottom half, and by adjusting this handle here, you adjust the 2 to be into alignment. This handle will adjust the elevation of the rangefinder so that if the tank is on an upslope or a downslope compared to the target, you can actually still see the target to range it. The idea is that the range could be estimated from 400 to 5,000 yards. Now, initially, the task for developing the rangefinder was given to the Admiralty. The Admiralty, they figured, knows something about optical rangefinders because they use the same system on battleships. Well, the difference being that the Admiralty tends not to have to deal with tanks and tank problems with only a 47-inch base. It didn't work. They then gave the project to Baron Stroud. Baron Stroud looked at the Admiralty's product and said, well, you know, as a rangefinder, it makes a very, very good thermometer. The reason for this was that due to sudden temperature changes, such as opening the armoured housing, you have resulted in the loss of coincidence, and depending on the amount of temperature change, the loss of coincidence accordingly. Eventually, Baron Stroud fixed the problem and you had a working rangefinder. The range, as estimated, is displayed on the left-hand side. The commander will then take this information and input it into the fire control system by use of the control underneath his main control handle. Down to his front, he has another control box. It's got some lights. He can turn on the heaters, instrument panels, his periscope wipers, if he wants to do that. To the left, he has his control handle for the external machine gun, the 30 cal. Sight to the front. He has a trigger here, and it's just mechanical leverage. The fire control turret can only be turned by electrical power. There's no manual backup. A full traverse takes 24 seconds and is done by use of the controller. Now, on the top of the controller, he has a slew button. So what he will do is, once he has used his FCT to lay onto a target, he has estimated the range. He applies the range by use of the control here to the fire control system as viewed in the left vision of the number 8 sight. Once he is happy that he is looking at the target and he's got the range right, he then presses the slew button on the top of the commander's handle, and this will then keep the fire control turret pointing at the target. It will slew the turret to match up with where the commander is looking. These days we call it a hunter-killer system, and you'll find it on the latest tanks such as Leclerc, M1A2 Abrams, and so on. Remember, this is done by use of purely mechanical linkages in the 1950s. This is actually a pretty neat feature, and it did work fairly well. As you look around the FCT interior, he also has a turret clock which will show the position of the hull in relation to the FCT in relation to the turret. So there's 3 positions on it, 3 indicators. He has 3 boxes of 30 cal ammunition scattered around him on the FCT floor. All in all, I'm kind of in 2 minds about Conqueror. I mean, there's no doubt this is a hugely impressive vehicle, very capable and easily beating silly the vehicle it was designed to destroy, the IS-3. It was surprisingly nimble. It would go places that Centurion could not, albeit loudly and a bit more slowly. And the gun was accurate and it worked as long as the shell casings went out the side. On the other hand, it was a bit of an anachronism, left over of the days of the heavy tank when Chieftain came out in the mid-60s. That was pretty much a death knell for Conqueror. and so the gun tank only had a service life of about 10-15 years. However, there is no doubt that this vehicle is one of the most imposing tanks one will ever see on the battlefield, in-game or in real life. And I hope you found the little tour we've had here somewhat illuminating. So that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Fortunately, they're hinged. Okay. I'll be back. A tanker's best friend can be the tanker bar. Basically, it's a 4.5, 5 foot long piece of metal, big large crowbar. Let's see if we can get some more. This adds a little bit more leverage. It's not as if this tank gets a lot of use. Oh, missed. That would have been very bad if I dropped off that all the way down. Okay, let's try it. Third time lucky. The things are of course made to be dropped, but I don't like doing that with museum pieces. Oh, they don't have a choice. We left rags in here. To the rear we now have the two Drake drums. Drake drums? To the rear we've got the two brake... Well, how can that be the same? Careful now, don't fall off the back of the tank and you're hurt. It was a technological tour de force. The thing was
technologically tour de force. Alright, still rolling.
Woohoo! Alright, there we go. Oh, it's much easier.